Then let's get this right. Testing, testing. Good morning, everybody. That's just tapping in. Let's try to get this right. Give me a second. All right. Yeah, that's a little bit better. That's right where it needs to be. Pocket. A lot to talk about. I'm waiting for people to come in the building. Hate going live from here. Good morning to everybody that's listening to me on the drive. Everybody on their way to work. There's a lot that happened over the weekend. Um, so just like we knew, like we all knew it, I don't think anybody got their hopes up. Uh, Bombing started again, and this time it was on behalf of. What was strange is that, from what I'm reading, the U.S. started the strikes first, but they claim that they started the strikes because a tanker was blew up in the Hormuz Strait. Which I listen. If you're asking my opinion, the peace deal was never gonna go down because obviously Israel has something on Trump that makes him bend the knee. And I'm talking about bend both knees, not one knee, like both the knees. Um, Give me a second. I'm trying to see. It's odd that not one person came in the room yet, and I don't want to be talking too long. Usually by now I have one person in the room, but people would be in the chat. This could be for a few different reasons. Let's see what's going on. I don't even see my people in here yet. That's the crazy. Okay, we got one view. I don't even see my people in here yet. I think I'll wait. I gotta see what's going on. I might start this whole shit over. I hate going live on this laptop. Yeah, it doesn't look right, y'all. If I don't see anybody, I got two people in here. If I don't see anybody in the next 5 minutes, I'm shutting this shit down. Which is a shame because I got some shit to talk about. Um, I got a lot of shit to talk about, to tell you the truth, but I just don't want it to go to waste. All right, let me continue talking while that's happening there. I don't know why they're not sending people in here, but it's kind of crazy. All right, so this is what we knew. I don't really fall for this type of stuff, but I pay attention, right? So Trump says he it felt like he wanted a peace deal badly. It felt like he really did. Um, and I think he wanted it because a lot of business owners probably was coming to him like, "Yo, what's the deal? Like, whatever you got going on with Israel, we have a lot that needs to come through that strait. A lot of what we need needs to come through that strait. So you got to figure that out." And it felt like I felt like he was feeling pressure from that. Yo, let's get the deal done. And it seemed like he got up enough courage at the moment. He was mustering up the enough courage to do it behind Israel's back. But we all knew Israel was not going to listen. Like, it's just so weird that the this they the size of New Jersey. They the size of New Jersey. and the way they push around America is the weirdest. It's like the shortest kid in the yard pushing around the biggest guy in the school. And you're like, yo, why does he do that? I got an idea why he lets him do that, but why does he do that? And they wanted to see the memorandum of understanding. So the United States said, you know what? We're just going to do a deal with screw Israel because they're fucking shit up. Let's just go over there to Switzerland and meet with the Iranians, do a deal because Netanyahu's crazy. He tried that tactic. The Israelis threw a hissy fit. Yo, we want to see what's in the memory. Y'all wasn't going to follow this shit anyway, so I don't know what y'all want to see what's in it for. But now, by even doing that approach, what they did was piss the Israelis off. The United States, they pissed the Israelis off even more. So I don't know how you thought that they wasn't going to do exactly what they did, which is completely carpet bomb Lebanon. After that, 100 bombs in 10 minutes. God damn. Crazy. Crazy. 100 bombs. What is also crazy is how the rest of the world sit back and they watch this shit, right? Now, the UN had some theatrical response. It was, it's, to me, it's all theatrics because nobody's going to bust a move. Nobody's busting a move. Nobody's saying, yo, we about to send troops over there. You really got to you got to stop. Nobody's doing that. So it's theatrics. So you're going to do a press conference and you're going to speak out about it. But that has no effect on anything. It has no effect. They completely carpet bombed them. They continue doing what they do. Now, I take a break to go do some urban news. Let's just say urban news over the weekend. But I got one eye on what's happening on the world. And it just kept on escalating and escalating, right? So it was like, yo, US strikes Iran. And I was like, okay. And I go back to doing my urban news for the weekend. I wake up, US is threatening to use the nuclear bomb on Iran. What? How do we, bro, what are we talking about? How do we, what? I can't turn around for 5 minutes and do urban news without the world falling apart. Let's take a look at that. We'll take a look at this. I also want to talk about deed theft today in Brooklyn, and I also want to talk about certain states are bringing back punishment by death squad. Don't listen. This is the weirdest time in the world. What is going on here? Why did it do that? Here we go. Anyway, certain states, Idaho, July 1st. I don't live in Idaho, but I believe this could catch on. So I don't, these are things that you have to pay attention to because it doesn't matter if you live in Idaho. Idaho is just the first state. This could be like a trial run. You understand? But they are July 1st. They're bringing back the death squad. They're bringing back a death by death squad, claiming hey, the injections that we use to kill people, we're running low on that. What? What are you talking about? What are you? You're running low on that? Was that coming from China too? And this is the problem when you get everything made overseas and you don't get anything made, you don't manufacture anything in the United States. This is the problem. Why were we getting fucking manure, fertilizer from overseas anyway? You mean to tell me we couldn't even get any good fertilizing plants here in the United States? This effing guy, what's good, bro? Oh, you're all for that? This effing guy is in the building. Yo, this effing guy, I don't know what happened. I changed my algorithm. I did one urban story over the weekend, and the next thing you know, I can't find you fucking guys. I'm like, where's the society at? This is crazy. It takes 10 minutes for you guys to come in the building. He says, can dual word of the day be, oh, slush fund? All right, we're gonna get into a couple of stories. First, I want to get into the story about nuclear war, but it might be back on. Trump is on some bullshit. He's back. He's. I guess they showed him the photos was real, right? I think what I think is he thought they was bluffing about the photo. Like, yo, do y'all really got a photo of me giving a BJ to fucking Bill Clinton? Y'all don't got no fucking photo. You front. And they showed his bluff. Nigga, we been had this photo for decades. I don't know who you talking to. Been had this shit. Waiting for you to do some stupid shit like this. Now you better get back on that saddle. Not only did he get back on the saddle, he's bugging.
U.S.-Iran ceasefire is under pressure this morning as American forces launch retaliatory strikes near the Strait of Hormuz. And President Trump is now warning that the U.S. may have to finish what they started if Iran continues to strike. Trey Yingst is live in Tel Aviv with the very latest. Good morning.
That's a crazy thing to say. That's a crazy thing to say. These white people in charge are totally out of fucking pocket. Totally out of pocket. What are you doing? Who's this guy? He's throwing me off right now. Bro, you gotta cut that shit off. You're fucking up my show, right? He doesn't want to give up the hair. The hairline is gone, brother. That shit is finito. Anyway, let's continue on. We got time to give you cosmetic tips.
Trey.
Charlie, good morning. Overnight, the United States launched a new round of strikes against Iran in response to the IRGC targeting yet another oil tanker. According to U.S. Central Command, a variety of different targets were hit, including military.
So, what I'm hearing is that, just so you guys know, Iran did not strike these tankers without any rational or logic behind it. What happened was they agreed to open up the strait, and they have certain ways they have an operation going, right? So there's rules you have to abide by while using the strait. From what I'm hearing, this particular tanker did not abide by those rules. Now here's the thing. This is why you want to be strict in this case, because it only starts with one thing. If I let one thing go, it's called the broken window theory. If I let one thing go, then all of a sudden it starts to snowball, and then there's no way to really roll that back. So America knows this. They know they listen. Billions of dollars are paid to think tanks. Billions. And they have the smartest minds in the country. So they understand how people think, they understand people's behavior. They're paid to give advice. So they know, like, if they could slowly erode their own guidelines in this, eventually they'll weaken them enough. Well, Iran is I don't know what y'all think about Iran, but they're not idiots. I can tell you that much. I can tell you. They may be pussies at this point, but they're not idiots. Because let me tell you something. If they would have bombed 40 fucking... If they would have bombed those schoolgirls under my watch, Israel would have been off the fucking face of the... They would have been off the face of the earth. Because that's what you want to do to us anyway. So I'm going to do it to you. If that's what you plan to do with us anyway, fucking wipe you out, right? And then now, United States, you got to bust a move. Fuck these other guys. Now you got to bust a move. What's up? Now, if you bust a move, you don't know what China's going to do. But I just bombed the shit out of Israel. What's up? And instead of calling their bluff, it looks like Iran just going to sit back. But I would call the United States bluff, because the United States is all about money and power. I don't think they would even risk getting into it with Iran. I don't. They should have took them motherfuckers out, but they didn't.
Surveillance systems, infrastructure belonging to their communication systems, air defense sites, drone storage facilities, and mine-laying capabilities. The president posted to Truth Social shortly after the strike saying United States aircraft just struck Iranian missile and drone storage locations and coastal radar sites for violating the ceasefire agreement again. It is very possible that they will never learn.
This guy's a fucking liar, bro. That's what I don't like. This is what I don't like. This guy's a fucking liar, bro. And he doesn't tell the truth, the whole truth to the American people, and he gaslights. So not all of that is actually true. But to me, it just shows you that's what you want. You want fucking war. Let's see if I can get Jink to talk about this shit.
All right, guys, we're back to bombing. This is a significant number of back and forths. I'm going to describe it to you from Thursday night to tonight. So America has done a major bombing campaign inside Iran, and that's the big news of tonight. But you have to trace the story back to understand why it's happened. And it's another, unfortunately, perfect example of American legacy media just butchering the story. At the same time, they have the actual facts. I'm going to show it to you. It's amazing the way they conduct themselves. So they buried the truth within the articles, but you have to really dig it out. And we'll dig it out together here, and I'll give you some quotes in a minute. So look, you guys know we do the show Monday through Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern is when we start. The live show is a lot of fun, and it's better when you guys are involved. So if you can, watch the show live anytime between 6 and 8 o'clock. And then at 8 o'clock, I do something we call the revolution, because we need a political revolution in this country. And I think it started actually on Tuesday night in New York. We'll talk more about that on the show Monday through Friday. So check that out if you can. And please support.
Okay, Andy, what's good with you, man? I don't know what they're doing this morning, man. I don't know what they're doing. I purposely don't do urban news on my lives because I don't want to really confuse YouTube. And I want to do what I want to do, which is urban news sometime. I don't only want to talk about politics. I do have history in the goddamn streets. I do have history in the music industry. There's a ton of shit I could talk about. I got my fucking master's degree. You understand? There's a ton of shit I could talk about, and I like to talk about it. But YouTube, YouTube does is, I don't know why it keeps doing that too. It keeps doing this thing where it just kicks a bunch of people out at one time. Whatever. What YouTube does is they say, no, you can only talk about this. So I go off and talk on some ghetto shit for 3 days, and I come back, and my fucking live is all jacked up. I'm not going to talk about fucking Trump every day of the week, YouTube. Sorry. Thank you, but no thank you, jackasses. So I come back and it doesn't notify you guys. I'm looking for the squad. Nobody's here. Anyway, Uncle Andy, what's good with you? We got this effing guy in the building. We got Uncle Andy. Some other people might be here later. Who knows? 510, what's good, bro? Yeah, we here. 510, here's the thing. If you ever see me do the live, I'm going to talk about world news, science, religion. That's what I talk about when I do my lives. If you ever see me drop a video, I'm talking about probably some urban shit, right? So it's very easy to distinguish what I'm about to talk about. And also, I don't go live in the evenings. I go live in the morning to talk about world news, politics, science. I don't go live in the evening. The urban community was at, yo, go live. I'm not going live because my lives are set for my people who don't talk about what you talk about. I have fun. I'm trolling. I'm being immature. Not really. I'm being my fucking self. But I have fun doing that content as well. But I know me. If I did that shit every day, it's brain rot for me. I need to think. I need to be able to articulate myself, express myself in different ways. I need to talk about high level conversations at some point in my life. If I don't, that I've always been like that. I can't just talk stupid shit all day long. Anyway, let's see what Jink is talking about.
If you can, because it is not easy to bring you the truth. And every day, including all the weekend days, I spend fighting.
Jink, stop begging, bro. The fuck, bro? Don't you make enough money? Knock it off and tell the story, man. Fuck is you begging for? You a millionaire. Knock it off.
And why they did that strike, but NBC doesn't tell you until about the 20th paragraph or so, and I have an exact paragraph count on one of these parts of the story. So,
yo, Jink, why you always look like you about to cry? Is it me, or do Jink look like he do a hit of crack before he comes on? At first I thought it was he was passionate about Iran, right? Because he's from over there. So I'm like, yo, he's emotional about this shit. Passionate. I like that. He's showing his vulnerability. You know what I'm saying? He's being transparent. That's one of the things that made me subscribe to you. 20 videos later, I'm thinking, wait, you can't be that compassionate. Every time you talk, your eyes are glazed. Are you doing crack, my man? What is going on? Jink, whatever you doing before you come on camera, you gotta knock that shit off, bro. But I do like you guys because let me tell you something. I kind of wish, well, maybe one day. he has a team, right? He has a team of researchers. That's what I need. You could wake up and, but let me tell you something about the Young Turks. They do their damn research, man, and I love them for that.
So they start with Iran attacks in the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, so and then they say America had to counterattack. So on Friday, we bomb a whole bunch of places, and way more so than Iran did. Iran bombed a ship going through the Strait of Hormuz in a place that was not sanctioned, approved under the auspices of the deal, right? So I'll come back to that in a second. So then America way overreacts, in my opinion, right? They could have done a similar strike on one of their ships or a different ship. I don't know, but I'm not as worried about the proportionality as much as I am worried about the war rolling on, right? And the more we bomb, the more they bomb, the more we bomb. So that's what I'm worried about. So, okay, so then since we bombed the hell out of them, then Iran comes back on the next day and starts attacking our positions. Okay, here we go. And then that leads to tonight a significant bombing campaign inside Iran by the United States. So here we go. We're getting reeled back into major warfare. And in fact, I'm going to show you what Donald Trump said. That is not a good indication at all. I know he huffs and he puffs, and let's hope that it's a taco or whatever else it is, okay, or a kebab. What about kebab? But definitely not in a positive direction. Then I'm going to tell you why Iran actually attacked, and it is amazing how they buried that news. First, James Kelly, I know.
That's what I want to get at. I want to get to him actually telling us, but I don't want to go too far in this video where he doesn't. I know his counterpart also. She breaks some shit down.
Way to join the TYT. And I tell you guys all the time, we're not the Young Turks, you're the Young Turks. If you don't want a show like this, you don't want our independent reporting, we don't exist, right? And so somehow, miraculously, you've kept us in business for 24 years, 21 years online, oldest online show in history, the first YouTube partner ever, and all thanks to you guys. Like, that's why, and within the industry, no, there's no need for a false flag here. So let me clarify what actually happened. So there's two issues, right? So Iran says, look, we've got this understanding, and you have to go through this certain approved path through the Strait of Hormuz.
Right.
There's a reason why we don't want you to go through non-approved paths. Otherwise, we have less control. And this is part of the agreement that you go through the approved path, right?
Right.
And so we go, oh, yeah, whatever, dude. We're not going to go through the approved path. And we push ships to go through a non-approved path.
All right. He's explaining it now. Now he's explaining it. I understood it, but I like when they explain it, right? Because anyway, I learned it from them. Just because the Young Turks will repeat a topic over and over again. So it was his female counterpart that had broke this shit down, and I was like, oh, they didn't tell you that. So now he's reiterating how the strikes got restarted, and it was a simple ignition, right? It didn't take much. But that's also what I think the United States and Israel was banking on. So they would have somebody come up through the canal the wrong way, do not change course, stay the task. And I don't know who would put their life on the line like this because, playing around with Iran. But Iran definitely blew the shit up out of that tanker. Dead men tell no tales. So if somebody did put that captain up to going through the strait the incorrect way, we'll never know. What made him do that? I don't know. I always kind of see captains and airline pilots as people who follow the rules. right? That like if anybody's gonna follow the rule, you expect your pilot and the captain of the ship to follow the fucking rules. I don't know. I don't know what happened.
Through non-approved paths. Otherwise, we have less control. And this is part of the agreement that you go through the approved path, right? And so we go, oh yeah, whatever, dude. We're not going to go through the approved path, and we push ships to go through a non-approved path. So what is that doing? I mean, whoever made that decision to do that, it probably works for Israel. I know you're not allowed to say it. Anyway, we're going to get to Israel. You don't have to worry about Israel in this one, okay? So let's just stick with the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, but whoever made the decision that, hey, let's provoke them by going outside of the approved paths knows that that might get a reaction. And my guess is they were rooting for that reaction.
Right.
Otherwise, why would you go outside the approved path? The approved pathway is working. The Strait of Hormuz is open. Oil's prices have gone down.
It didn't make any sense, people. It makes no sense. First you was complaining, yo, it's not open, right? First you complain, yo, the Strait of Hormuz is not open. Then they come to an agreement, but they said, listen, we're never giving back up the full strait, right? Like I'm the captain now. I'm the captain now. We will take in control, but we will have decency and order. So if you paid your tax, please go this direction, follow the guidelines. This is real simple stuff. You learn this in elementary school when they tell you to walk on the yellow line. Coincidentally, from what I hear, that same yellow line is they was training us for prison. Coincident. I've never been to prison, but people that been to prison, oh yeah, the yellow line. They was training us to follow orders the entire time. So they kind of knew who was going to have a problem with authority. It's amazing I haven't been to prison. I have the biggest problem with authority. They've been telling me that shit since 3rd grade. You know, your son has a problem with authority. And I would deny that shit. And by the time I got older, I said, I really have a problem with authority. They were fucking right the entire time. It's sad. Sad.
That's a huge relief for Americans. Can we get anything for Americans? Can we get relief for just a minute? Pretty please, whoever's making these decisions? No. We're going to try to drive you back into war by going in the non-approved path. Now, you could say, hey, I don't care, man. I mean, you could say one of two things. One is, well, we're America, bro. We don't need to listen to a peace agreement. All right, well, that guy I can't speak to. I mean, that guy's not speaking in logic and reason and ration. So, yeah, you could try to thump your chest, but then you're going to go back into war. So that doesn't really help. And if you want war, I get it, but that's what you'll get if you go in that direction. And if the guy wants to start a war again, why are we letting him make the decisions? we have a memorandum of understanding to get the hell.
Yo, this effing guy. The funny thing is, a lot of guys, I don't mind being alone, right? So people would rather go to the box, right? They really, because it's a form of PC. But you can't ask to go to PC because then you would be considered PC. Pun intended. However, I could do some shit on purpose to get me thrown to the box, and now I don't seem like a pussy because technically I didn't ask to be put into PC. You understand? I know plenty of people who came home and told me, yeah, I just punched the guy in the face for no reason at all. I didn't even know that fucking guy. He just wanted to get thrown in the box. It's stupid, but it is what it is.
Out of there. Okay, so that's one reason why. Then, and I counted, it's in the 16th paragraph of the NBC News story on it. They then finally, so they haven't talked about Israel at all, right? So it looks like, oh, we've got to, number one, it looked like Iran attacked for no reason. But if you read deep enough into the article, you found out, oh, it wasn't for no reason. It was because we're going outside the approved pathways. But you still haven't heard a second reason at all. And finally, in the 16th paragraph, you know how far you got down an article? You got to go, well, about 16 paragraphs. Anyway, but really, I mean, I hope everyone's reading all the details, because if you're not reading the whole article, the most relevant parts are buried at the bottom, so it doesn't look like that's what the real deal is. It looks like, well, I mean, we stated the facts. I mean, I'm about to read it to you. The facts are in there, they say, right? But the framing is Iran attacked us and it was about traffic through the strait. Coincidentally, like way at the end of the article, it was Israel. Okay, so here, let me quote him. NBC News says Mohsen Rezai, a senior official and former commander of the Iran Revolutionary Guard Corps, said the U.S., through its support of Israel, had violated the deal. So, turns out that a huge part of the reason they attacked us was because Israel was violating the deal. Now,
there you go. But we knew. None of us are shocked. We're not shocked here. But, I would say you can't imagine my frustration with Israel, but you can imagine my frustration with Israel. You can. It's just so. You wish you could do something about this. If there was a button to wipe these fucking people off the planet Earth, I would smash that shit with all my might. All my might. And you just don't understand why this guy is doing this. Now, I think I had looked this up before because I'm not the best at politics. And I wanted to know, let's find out in real time the answer to my question. Let's bring this up. What can happen if Donald Trump loses the midterm elections? Let's just find out. Usually AI will answer that question. It didn't, so now we'll go to Ask Gemini. Not a problem. Not a problem. Start chat, please. Thank you. What can happen if Donald Trump loses midterms? The outcome of the midterm election for a sitting president are primarily shaped by how the congressional control shifts, which direction impacts the executive branch's ability to implement its legislative agenda. Oh, okay. So this is fucking cowboy games. The extent of these impacts depends on the specific margins of control. Narrow majorities often lead to different dynamics than commanding majorities. Okay, so fucking nothing. You know, a bunch of large words and complicated jargon to say nothing. You could have just said that, bro. You don't gotta miss me with all the stupid shit. Nothing at all. Nothing happens to him. Let me just make sure. So nothing. Yeah, it's nothing. And this is why we hate politics, because everything is so political, and it's like human beings are so fucking stupid. They'll watch something burn and decide, hey, we have to discuss this before we grab a fire extinguisher. You can't just grab the fire extinguisher without discussing it, because that's what's written in the plans. You got to go through protocol. You do know the house is on fire. I understand that, Jamel, but If we don't follow the process, there could be chaos. Dickhead, is already chaos. This is what I'm trying to let you know. There's already chaos. So the reason I need to talk about other topics a lot of times and go off and do something else is because, quite frankly, it is very apparent that this is just a ruse, and this is theatrics. That's all it is. It's a script that they want to play out on my time that I can't get back. I can lose money and I can get that back. I can get sick and I can get healthy again. But I cannot get my time back. I can't go back to being 30. No, we're moving forward. So, your script is written out in 6 months increments, tying up all my time. And I believe that's why YouTube really fought me for a long time, because they're like, yo, he's over there telling people the plan, discussing the plan. And if we encourage this type of dialogue, then everybody's going to catch on, right? So they purposely suppressed a lot of people's conversations, a lot of people's YouTube channels that were talking like mine. They said, nah, we don't pay you for that. I made $300 fucking over the weekend on YouTube. Over the weekend. How many videos did I do? 5? I did 5 videos and made $300. That's why everybody's going fucking crazy on negative content. I don't think I did more than 6 videos. And some of the videos they haven't even counted the money yet. They're still counting the money, which means I probably made more. I said, this is why everyone is going. But see, people, they know what your desires are. So they say, hey, why talk about that? You can talk about this and I'm going to pay you. So more people talk about stupid shit. Brain rot. And guess what? If I'm out of work and I'm just sitting there with a computer in front of me, what am I going to do? I'm going to say, let me get busy. Guess you can't beat them, join them. I don't got shit else going on. Just so happens I got a little something going on right now. So if I'm doing 5 videos a day, I'm probably making what I would make at a job. A good $350 a day. But I gotta keep up my barking, which is putting out this mass distraction content. Unless you are like one of the bigger channels who already have the momentum going, right? They got the team going. I don't know if I need momentum in that area. I don't know, because I think YouTube will continue to push me if I stay in a negative algorithm for my videos, which I plan to do. But I don't know if they'll fully embrace me, because they know he's not gonna stop going against the system. He's not. And they're right. I want to make a shift in the conversation for a second. So I've heard about this topic for a minute now, and the topic is deed theft. Deed theft. So I think that older people were being targeted for their homes, which is sad. And they were being targeted for. I heard about this story originally in Brooklyn, but this story doesn't only have to take place in Brooklyn. So I don't want people to think, oh, it's just a Brooklyn thing. No, just like the next story I'm going to talk about, which is the return of the firing squad for the death penalty. Crazy. Crazy. But it's starting in Idaho, starting July 1st. But I also think it's starting in Idaho because I don't think it's going to be used that much. By the way, we'll get to that story in a second. They're going to be starting with pedophiles. Death penalty, which I agree with. I'm on board for that. Idaho is only bringing this shit back for pedophile. If you're caught doing any pedophilia shit, death by the firing squad in Idaho. Well, shout out to fucking Idaho. Let's give you a round of fucking applause. Now, I looked into this story a little bit, and apparently, I don't think it is how it's being painted. And I like Sabby Sab. This is Sabby Sab's channel right here. Her name is Sabrina Salvati. She may be married to an Italian man. Sabrina Salvati. She does good work. Now, she was talking about Letitia James, who's the New York State Attorney General, and they think that she is complicit in this scheme of deed theft because I'm going to tell you why they think this, because the video is pretty lengthy and I'm going to be jumping around in the video. They think that this is a well orchestrated plot that includes policemen, attorneys, several different people, 7 different levels of operations. And they think she's in on it, which would be crazy if Letitia. I don't think Letitia James is in on it. Like that. Why would you risk everything to get to that status as a black woman? You the Attorney General of New York, and you risk it all to steal some houses, to be a part of some fucking bullshit scheme that is definitely they're gonna get caught by the FBI sooner or later. You're gonna get caught, and somebody's gonna give you up. And let's not forget, I think she had waged war against Donald Trump when he was running for president. So I don't think you got to know that when you wage war on President Trump, he's not going to forget. You think he forgot about Alvin Bragg, or he just didn't get around to Alvin Bragg yet? You think he forgot about Letitia James? You think he forgot about Fannie Willis? I don't think he forget about any of these people. I think he just has a lot to deal with right now with Iran and Israel. But if cooler times was to prevail, I think he'd be out here smoking their boots.
Supporting her. They're not telling you what she's doing. Listen to this.
Letitia James is quite complicit in this operation. And the reason why we say that is that between 2023 and 2026, the Attorney General now has well over 1,000 cases that are in her office. She has, as of last year, only looked into 2, And one of those cases is a person named Joseph McConaughey, who was indicted by her office on more than one occasion. They have failed to be able to prosecute him to this point, and we're concerned at the level of care that they are putting into these cases, because when you go and look at who they hired, a wealth management attorney against Trump's machine, who's representing Joseph McConaughey, we're concerned. We're calling for the Attorney General to do her job. It is not okay to fight Trump, but abandon your own state.
Say it again. So a lot of people, they know Letitia James as this, fighter against like Donald Trump, but she not fighting back against corruption and power. Otherwise, people wouldn't be losing their homes. This is absolutely insane. And people just walk around and pretend like this is not even a thing. One of the things.
Listen, a couple of things there I want to say. Let's start with the first thing she said, which is over 1,000 cases. Now, over 1,000 cases. First of all, my heart goes out, right? I had this conversation with my wife yesterday, and we was just like, damn. Over 1,000 cases of people losing their home to deed theft. Now, I want you to think about this for a second. The climate we're in right now. I just want you to think about some of you guys like me have grandparents who own their own home. You understand? But even if your grandparents didn't own your own home, let's just say your grandparents lived in an apartment that was regulated. It's all the same if you have nowhere to live. Imagine getting old and your whole life you was setting everything up so that it could be automated. Things are taken care of every month. You don't have to really worry about that. So the one thing you don't go to worry about, why did it knock my shit out? Oh, we back. This thing is bugging. Yo, peace to the gods in the earth. Original man in the building. Salute. Mount Vernon, New York, Westchester 914. Say it loud, say it proud. Shout out New Rochelle, shout out White Plains. Let's get to it. As I'm thinking about the older people, I'm like, yo, like most older people, you may hear I'm like, I can't say most. Most is cap. That's cap. What I was about to say. I was gonna say they may be worried about food, but they have a place to stay. But I don't know that if they're worried about food. But I do know in this climate is a harsh climate. Meaning, what do I mean by a harsh climate? Customer service, if you could get any, is completely eroded, right? So if you can get someone on the phone to handle your business, it's going to take an hour and a half. That's number one. So you're going to wait online an hour and a half to 2 hours, especially if it's some type of department in your state. These people don't care. They never cared. I don't think they pay people enough to care. So here's how it's going to go. Either your salary is not going to be good, but you have security, right? If you work for the state, you're like, well, I got security. They're not going to fire me until I die, as long as I follow the rules. Or their salary is high and they overwhelm these people with work to the point where it's like, is this salary even worth it? So they got these people that work at these departments where the whole fucking state is calling these like two people. You got two people answering the phone for these questions, if you don't catch them as soon as the lines open up on Monday, good luck for the rest of the week. That fucking phone is busy, ringing all week. If you ever, it gets to the point where you're satisfied just getting on the wait list for them to say you have the next person in line is, you'll be waiting an hour and a half. You're like, yes. Because sometimes it won't even let you get on the wait list. Then the last thing you need is somebody that does not understand empathy or compassion. So my point is, how do you think an older person is going to react to trying to get help? You say, call 311. That's easier said. So 1,000 cases of deed theft, in my opinion, in Brooklyn alone, is not a small thing. It's not small potatoes. It is not small potatoes. And in fact, it is looking like that needs to be addressed. Now, I don't know why Letitia, I'm pretty sure deed theft is not the only thing she has to deal with. So she has to prioritize now, and I don't know what her staff is looking like, and I don't know what the backlog is looking like. So what I'm really saying is the system is broken, but most people don't want to answer that the system is broken. They don't want to hear the system is broken. They just want results. And I'm not going to lie, people losing their damn house, old people losing their house, is crazy. Now, let's go back to the beginning of this video. Where are we at here? What time? So we can, that's 11. All right, let's go back a little bit further so we can get a backstory on this video a little bit better.
Do what needs to be done for the community that she represents in New York. So when we had mentioned AOC, I want to let you know she just endorsed Letitia James. Again, this is problematic. I'm going to show you why.
New York, you deserve an attorney general who has the courage to fight for you. And that's Letitia James.
But she doesn't fight for them. That's what you're going to find out in just a second.
I've spent my career going after people who thought they were above the law.
And when corporations ripped off working people,
We made them pay more than $9 billion for the people of this great state.
and when guns flooded our streets and threatened our lives,
We took nearly 10,000 of them off of our streets. And we need leaders in Washington who will stand.
And that's what I'm saying. I'm not ready to shit on Letitia James yet. I'm not. Because she didn't respond to these egregious acts yet. Because there's a lot of shit going on. If you haven't noticed, the city's like Gotham City, right? You got fucking Bloods, Crips, Trinitarios. You got everybody. It's like all type of wild ass gangs running. She got to deal with that. There's a lot to deal with. And I'm not making excuses for her, but, let's try to understand both sides, because I definitely understand the people's side about their frustration. This has to be dealt with either way, Letitia, and I'm hoping that we'll make enough noise to get you to see, because I will focus on you for a weekend too. We could get busy on you. I just don't like to do that. And I definitely didn't want to do that to another black woman. I want to give you the opportunity to fix your shit.
Stand up for our neighbors. When the director of ICE came after AOC for doing her job, she had one answer.
bring it on, because no one is going to stop us from defending our rights and our communities. Not Donald Trump, not the lobbyists, not anyone.
That's the AOC I know, a leader who delivers, bringing back millions.
Let me just say something there. I don't think immigrants, I don't think migrants, not immigrants, I don't think migrants belong in this country. I don't think migrants belong in this country. Right? So I to this day, I don't see the big fucking point about ICE. Everyone's concerned about, I would only be concerned about ICE. Somebody called me last week about ICE. Yo, ICE. Bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Why are you talking to me? So your aunt's a criminal for 30 years. Why are you telling me this out loud? She's a nice person. I never said your aunt wasn't nice. I didn't say shit about your aunt not being nice, not being beautiful, not being built like a brick house. Shout out to your aunt. However, being here 30 years without going to do the fucking documentation to come here legally is crazy. What are you doing? And she's at risk. Where's she at now? It could be a fucking reward. I don't know. Is she safe? Does she need a place to stay? If they was given $5,000 per migrant, I'm telling you right now, don't tell me about your loved ones, because they're gonna get the fuck up out of here. I would quit this job in a second and just run around the country searching for fucking migrants. Swear to God. 5,000 a migrant?
Millions in federal dollars to our neighborhoods.
Since getting elected, I've secured nearly $50 million for the Bronx and Queens.
We will continue to protect our communities, lower costs, and help working families prosper. Vote June 23rd.
When you look at this ad and you compare it to the Zoran ad that was with those candidates on the basketball court, this ad seems and feels fake, because they're not telling you the truth about what Letitia James has been doing.
I don't know. You seem like you got it out for her, Savvy Sab. You got to come with some concrete. You guys come with something more concrete. I know people don't like her, but that can't be enough to push me. Come on with something. Let's see what you got, Savvy Sab. Talk to me.
And when we get to this other part, I want to show you, right? So AOC endorsed her. Remember, she has this thing where she was only going to support and back the incumbents. This is who she's supporting and backing right now. Now, Track APAC has been following her very closely here. Let's remember, Letitia James was the one that stood on stage during the pro-Israel parade right next to war criminals that she claimed she didn't know was war criminals. She's the attorney general. Guys, the attorney general is the...
Now, in my opinion, Letitia James, it doesn't make you a bad person to stand with Israel. I don't stand with Israel. So I'm not going to say you're a bad person, because Israel's not cheap. They pay. You understand? So I know you got paid to stand in front of that podium. I know you got paid. And if they don't pay, a Lannister always repays his debt. You hear me? A Lannister always repays his debt. That means if they didn't pay you today, they will remember you tomorrow. However, I don't fuck with these people. Israel. So I wouldn't have took the stance you took. But again, you're in politics. You're in these professional circles that I don't have the stomach for, because I got to do shit like what you're doing right now. And I can't do that. Because these people mean the world no good. I assure you this. And just to break bread, and I can't say break bread literally, but that type of bread. I've broken bread with Jews. Rich Jews. And we've gotten some money together. Shout out to the rich The rich Jews in the Bronx. So my thing is not against just Jews, but I don't fuck with Israel and the Zionists. I don't believe in the Zion. I don't believe that you guys should have gotten that land. I'm all for giving you guys some land somewhere that wouldn't affect anybody. Right out there by the Caucasus Mountains. That's what you deserve. That's what you deserve. You can run around, play all your silly games, blow up bombs, do whatever you need to do right out in that area by yourself. So all of that is bullshit about, yo, we need a land. Okay, here's land out there. No, we need the Holy Land. What the fuck are you talking about? You guys are not even related to these people out there. What are you talking about? We need the Holy Land. Okay, get out my office. Fucking idiots.
The top cop of the state. If people didn't come after her for this, I honestly don't think she would have made that type of apology, to be honest with you. She stood right there shoulder to shoulder next to these war criminals that have killed children. Rah, rah, rah for Israel, she says. Letitia, that one. So I found it interesting that
it's always a black woman doing some silly shit she shouldn't be doing, getting herself mixed up. Who remembers the black lady with the flabby arms that was trying to encourage people to take the jab? And she said, if they give it to me, I'm not asking what's in it. Who's it from? Ah. Crazy. She said, I'm just putting it in my arm. It's always some fucking Aunt Jemima sellout that's going to sell people out down the river. Now, how many lawsuits are they fighting for adverse effects, people dying? It's crazy.
she had the audacity, make sure I'm going to the right one here, to come after the people that Zoran put in. Look at what she said here. New York Attorney General Letitia James criticized NYC Mayor Zoran and some of his endorsed candidates in New York City's Democratic primaries, telling CNN that some of those candidates don't understand the communities they want to represent and are disconnected from the history and the struggles of many NYC districts.
It sounds like, I don't think she wrote that herself, but she's being used by the Israelis. That's what's going on there. And, you know, if you look back at my portfolio of my conversations and the type of things I talked about, I covered so much topics, right? So we already went through and understand the psyops that take place politically, socially, right? There's a group called the Jesuits who I've educated people about. We've looked into the Jesuits over here on this channel. If you're new to this channel, we've already done deep dives into these people who actually have a system of organized chaos where they create profiles that go for one thing and then another profile that would go against the other group. And they create these people that go through their fraternity, that go through their ideology, that go through their system. So if you have they're both Jesuits, but you have one side aggressively arguing that the other side is evil. And they're both doing this. And they both spawn from one fucking ideology. How can that be? unless you was an agent of destruction. Now, add like 5 to 10 more of those same organizations, different names, but same playbook. And when I first got my YouTube channel, I felt it was necessary for me to warn people that, hey, this really exists. But for one, you're hit with a brick wall because people don't understand. They don't want to take the time to understand. Very few people, right? Like the members of my fucking YouTube channel, the people you see with a blue wrench, most of them stuck it out for hours. Learn for hours, hundreds of fucking hours, sitting on this channel, taking notes, learning. And that's why I call this channel a public mystery school. Because I can throw questions at these people with the blue wrenches right now, and they're going to fucking blow your mind. You're not just going to get one over on them. However, we don't like to throw pearls to swine over here. And you have to blend in with society, and you don't always have to tell what you know. And I tell my daughter this. I teach my daughter this shit, but I tell her, don't argue with nobody. Never argue about religion. If someone comes to you and they want to present Jesus to you, just shake, be cordial, but you don't have to tell them everything you know. Meet them at their level. So what I do on my YouTube channel is different. It's my channel, so I can accept who I want. I can say whatever I want to say. But when I go out in the real world, do you think I'm out here arguing with people about gods and all of this? No, I don't do any of that. I let them people talk to themselves. It apparently, Letitia James, it to me looks like someone who is being used by Israel. We all know Mandami, or whatever his name is, Mandami. When he said what he said when they was running for mayor, and they asked that dumbass question, what is the first thing you're gonna do if you win? And everybody was like, oh, first thing I'm gonna do is go over to Israel. And I was like, what? Well, why would you go over to Israel as a fucking mayor of New York? That doesn't even make sense. And all of these jackasses kept saying the same thing. Oh, yeah, all being paid by Israel? And Mandami was the only one with the balls to say, I'm going to stay right here and run the city. Oh, I knew he had the votes right then and there. Because they've been trying to brainwash us to accept Israel. But let me tell you something about those people over there. I don't know what type of species they are. I don't say that mockingly. I don't say that jokingly. Like, you probably like, ha, ha, ha. No, I'm fucking dead ass serious. I don't know what type of species they are. There's some type of humanoid, but they're different, Jack. And it's going to come out. If not now, 50 years from now, it's going to come out. These guys was different the whole time. They don't really give a shit about the rest of the people on this earth. They don't.
This is laughable coming from her when we talk about the struggles and the history. She goes on to say, also, Democratic leaders are disappointed in Zoran, adding, all of us are a little frustrated with the Democratic Party, but you don't blow it up. That's what MAGA has done. But wasn't that the mission of Justice Democrats? Wasn't the mission a hostile takeover of the Democratic Party? So apparently, no, you are supposed to come in and just blow it up. That's what you're really supposed to do. And Zoran, he's been kind of tepid with it. Like, he didn't go in there and just drop like a massive boom, like bomb. He's been, taking with Letitia. New York City has a problem with deed theft. And I just want you to hear what the Coalition Against Deed Theft told me and how Letitia James is a big part of the problem. Deed theft is when people, particularly in New York City, they have been stealing elders' homes, mainly Black elders' homes. It reminds me of the '08 housing crisis when people thought they were signing papers, elderly people thought they were signing papers that were going to help them along the way with their mortgage, but it was actually people stealing their homes. Those banks.
I just want to say one thing. Sometimes people ask me, why don't you say anything about Muslims? Which to me is an immature approach to the conversation, because I would not be talking about Israel if they weren't out here committing mass genocide on their neighbors. So when you ask me why don't I talk about Muslims, because it hasn't been reported in this century, in this year, decade, that the Muslims are committing mass genocide the way Israel is, right? So I'm talking about you for a reason. I'm not just mentioning Israel. You was given a state. You was given a piece of land in 1948. The world trusted you and said that, I don't know why the world trusted you, because before this, these same people were kicked out over 100 fucking countries in the last 1,000 years. 100 countries you were kicked out of. Some countries more than once. The country let you back and you did the same exact fucking thing you got kicked out for the first time. Who gets kicked out of countries? Who? So it's not about, okay, well, what about Muslims? Fuck all that. What are you talking about? Jackass? What are you talking about? Why would you want to revert the conversation to something else for no apparent reason? You don't say that about the Muslims because they're not out here killing Palestinians after living on their fucking land. They carved out a piece of land for you guys. You weren't supposed to be there. You're fucking liars. You are not related to the people of Judea at all. You're Ashkenazi Jews. You have the genetics of Khazarians. And I think bigger than all that, you have the mindset to destroy and kill until you rule the entire planet. That's obvious. Because you think everyone else is beneath you and you are the Goyim. And we are the Goyim. If everyone else was beneath you, why would you have to beg for fucking land? If your God was so great, why would... This is past 40 years. I understand, and God punished them by letting them walk in the wilderness for 40 years. What about fucking 2,000 years? How about that? How about those apples? Do you think your God let you roam the planet for 2,000 years as a lesson? No. Teach them they gotta learn a lesson. No. They gotta learn. Don't nobody try to talk me out of this. I'm tired of their back talk. They're serving idol gods. No. Let them learn. It's bullshit. You people are devious people. I'm not saying that because it's my opinion. I'm saying that because it's a fucking fact. People just tried to bring up peace several times in the past 4 weeks. And what'd you do? You got irate over at just the pronunciation of the word peace made your skin boil. You hate peace. You don't like it. So it's not about Christians. It's not about Muslims. It's about you just seeing the Israeli people as they are. Hateful fucking people. And another thing, I don't know why you would come over here to my channel knowing we don't like Israelis. Get the fuck out of here. We don't like Israelis. Don't come back to this channel. Go fuck your mother, clown. Unsubscribe from my channels. We don't like Israelis. Jackass. You guys fucking shot at the USS Liberty and then tried to play it off like, oh, we didn't know it was you guys. You thought we forgot? We didn't forget shit you did. We don't like you.
Took their homes. Similar process happening in New York City. What has Letitia James done about it? Listen to this. How is this not illegal? Like, how is this allowed to happen?
This is the question that we have, Sabby, and it is extremely illegal. But in New York, we are having a huge problem. And this is why we call this, there's a crime syndicate. Am I saying that right, Evangeline? It's a crime syndicate. Like, it can't just be one person doing this. This is so multi-layered. We're talking about the courts are involved. NYPD is involved. The sheriff's department is involved. So many.
I listen. First of all, Rachel, thank you for standing up. And Evangeline, I think you could be yelling. You could be yelling fire in a crowded stadium. And I'm going to tell you why. But you could be right, too. You could be right, too. So I went to Gemini AI with it, and I said, can you look? Hold on one second. What the hell is going on here? There we go. All right, cool. I said, can you look at this case and tell me if people have been sentenced to way higher sentences of this crime, please? And I gave him the case. And it says, yes, people have been sentenced and face significantly higher sentences for deed theft and related real estate fraud schemes in New York. In the case you link, the disbarred attorney, Sanford Salney, was sentenced to an indeterminate term of 2.5 to 7 years in prison for stealing the deeds to 11 properties. However, a few key details from the specific case and others across the state highlights how sentences for these crimes can be much higher. The prosecutors wanted a much higher sentence in this case. Even with this exact case, the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office explicitly stated that they recommend a sentence of 7 to 18 years in prison due to the decade-long nature of the scam and the number of victims. The judge, however, had previously promised a lower maximum of 7 years when rendering the verdict trial, which capped the final sentence. So right then and there, I'm not going to lie to you, I was kind of pissed off too. And I'm like, wait, what the fuck do you mean the judge just capped it at 7 years and the lowest 2.5? So there's a chance that this guy could only do 2.5 years after stealing 11 fucking houses in Brooklyn. You know, that has to be well over $1 million, but also it's just the damage that you're doing to people's lives. How many people are homeless? How many people worked all their life and now have to go live with a niece or you know, who knows where these people have to live now? What does this mean? The judge, however, had previously promised a lower maximum of 7 years. In legal terms, that sentence means the judge made a binding commitment regarding the maximum prison time the defendant would face before the actual sentence hearing took place, which legally tied the hands of the prosecutors. So it was capped. Because the judge gave his word on the record when rendering the verdict, that promise became legal constraint. When a formal sentence hearing took place in November, the Brooklyn District Attorney's Office argued aggressively for a much harsher punishment. They wanted Salney to get 7 to 18 years in prison because of how many families he devastated over the last 10 years. I said, why would he make that deal? I don't get it. What did the courts get out of this? Gemini says it's completely understandable to find this frustrating and confusing. From the outside, it looks like a deal where a criminal got a deal. However, in the specific scenario, it wasn't a plea deal, and the court didn't get anything in return for the defendant. Instead, the 7-year cap was a legal limitation resulting from the specific criminal charges the DA chose to bring, right? So it goes on and on and on. And I said, what law sets the max of 7 years for this fraud? The 7-year maximum sentence is dictated by New York Penal Law Section 70.06, which sets the mandatory sentencing guidelines for the state calls a second felony offense, commonly known as a predicate felony. The cap works through a specific step-by-step calculation under the New York state law. The class of felony, Sanford Salini was his name. That's who they was. The guy's name, the defendant, was convicted of third-degree grand larceny and third-degree criminal possession of stolen property. Under New York penal law, these specific crimes are classified as Class D non-violent felonies. The predicate felon status, I never heard of this before, the predicate felon status, penal law 70.06, because Salini already had a prior felony conviction on his record within the last 10 years, he could not be sentenced as a first-time offender. Under New York Penal Law 70.06, a judge must use a stricter mandatory sentencing chart for repeat felony offenders. According to this statute exact chart for Class D nonviolent felony, the mandatory, listen to this, the mandatory minimum sentence is 2.4. The absolute legal maximum sentence is 3.5 to 7 years. So that's why the guy got 7 to the 0.5 to 7, which on her shows she is saying the guy got 2 years. Sabrina, I love you, and I watch your show and I subscribe, but the guy didn't get 2 years. Stop saying he got 2 years for stealing people's houses and that everyone is in on it. Because you're yelling fire in a crowded stadium. And I get your frustration, and I'm with you on something has to be done about this. I'm not down with old people. I'm not down with anybody losing their damn house for deed theft, right? I'm definitely not down with it for old people. That has to be so scary. If you steal somebody's house and they're 24, they're going to be pissed off, they're going to get more money, and they're going to bounce back and buy another house. And they're not going to fall for that again. If you steal somebody's fucking house at 75, 70 years old, come on, man. My next question was, who presented this statute? Who wrote this bill? I wanted to know how long it had been in existence. Because the specific statute, New York Penal Law 70.06, is a fundamental structural law that has been on the books for decades. Excuse me. It doesn't trace back to a single modern lawmaker. Instead, it was created as part of a sweeping historical legislative package driven by New York State's governor in 1973. Who championed the law? The driving force behind the statute was Governor Nelson Rockefeller. Why aren't we surprised? Why aren't we surprised? In 1973, Governor Rockefeller pushed a massive tough on crime legislative agenda through the New York State legislature. While history most famously remembers this package for the strict Rockefeller drug laws. It also included a complete overhaul of how New York treated repeat offenders of standard crimes. The specific bill, Chapter 277 of the laws of 1973, officially amended the state penal code to strip judges of their sentencing discretion when dealing with repeat offenders. So apparently this law this statute is not specific to just the particular fraud we're talking about, but it gets looped in, it gets dumped in with everything else, and unfortunately it doesn't resonate well, and it gets frustrating for people. And that's why Miss Rachel down there at the bottom is probably saying, yo, everybody's involved in this shit, because the guy only got 2 years.
People are involved in order for this to work.
Notice that she mentioned the NYPD. You have police officers that are involved.
I don't know if a police officer is allowed to take the law into their own hands because they're frustrated. A police officer could show up at your house at the crime scene, right, and be just as frustrated as anyone there, and they have to still do their job. I've seen it happen. Now, they could try to help out the person as much as possible right there, but how many people in fucking blue uniforms do you think can really do anything on the spot about deed theft? You got to quit your job and then damn near become a private eye. Other than that, your job is not to single-handedly chase down the guy with fucking deed. You're not a detective. So I think some of the things that she's saying is gaslighting a little bit. A little bit. Listen, for time, let's get into my last story. For time.
This is where the attorney general should be stepping in.
What the? Sorry.
We have a man named Sanford Soley. He's just one of many bad actors. He was an attorney, since been disbarred. He stole over, get this, Sabby, he stole over, well over 100 homes from Black and brown people in Brooklyn and Queens. And it was the Queens DA's office that brought charges against him, forcing the Brooklyn DA to file charges against him. With all these homes that he stole, found guilty, was sentenced to only 2 to 6 years in jail by a corrupt judge named Danny K. Chung.
See, they're blaming everything on Daniel K. First of all, she got the sentences wrong. So I told you 2 to 6 years is really 2 to 7. Now they're saying that Daniel K. Chung is corrupt. But I don't think they understand this didn't have nothing to do with this. Was out of Daniel K. Chung's hands. He could not, the maximum he could give was 7. That's not Daniel K. Chung's. That's the system. So you saying that the NYPD got something to do with this and they involved, and I don't think they got anything to do with it. What I think, Mitch Rachel, and I'm not even trying to be funny, is we got to learn how to stop supporting random fucking people that write our laws, right? We have to get our people to really think about who we're voting for instead of this bullshit. Oh, I'm Democrat. My grandmother was Democrat. My father was Democrat. My father was Republican. My grandmother was Republican. I'm going Republican. No, maybe you guys need to stop doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, because clearly all of these people fucked you in the ass every single time. So maybe you need to go independent, right? And then maybe as a district leader, you study the people who's running, or you run yourself, or you study the people who's running, and then you tell the people that follow you guys, listen, this is who we voting for, because this person said that they would change these laws if they get into office. But once you see somebody align with bigger initiatives like APAC and all that shit, you can scrap all of that shit. All that's going out the window. So maybe that might be a question you want to ask before you elect that person. Do you have any plans? Will you align with APAC? They start stuttering and, hey, I don't see any problem with, nah, fuck out of here. You ain't the one. Next.
I can't understand how somebody steals this amount of money, right? Because it's now grand larceny. You stole over $100,000. Well,
See, she said it. She said it herself. I can't understand how somebody could steal this amount of home. It's in the laws. It's in the laws.
over that. And you only got 2 to 6 years in jail. And get this, he's out on bail. And when
Listen, I understand it. I'm going to end this like this. I understand their frustration. Letitia James, please do something about this if this video gets to you. Because, I don't mind spending the fucking whole weekend on you either. We just spent the whole weekend on Prince Miller. We could spend a whole weekend on you. I got time. I got $300 just for spending time on one individual over the weekend. 5 fucking videos. $300. I don't mind making another $300. Dig into your shit. See what you got going on. I did hear about something with your relatives with the scam. I don't want to do it. Because my goal is not to bring another black professional down. But get ahead of this. And I could tell you right now, I'm not a fan of you joining with APAC. You should have left that money alone. You would have made money anyway, Letitia. You didn't need their fucking filthy synagogue of Satan money. There are some who say they are Jews and they are not, but they are of the synagogue of fucking Satan. Leave that dirty, filthy synagogue Satan money alone. Now, moving on to our last story. The Hill. I don't see them a lot anymore. But clearly, you would have thought this shit is like not a true story. But that's what I thought. Fire Squad returns. Dead ass Fire Squad's return. July 1st. This is wild. Hold on. Come on, Hill. Your videos are crazy, bro. What are you doing?
All right, Lindsay, what's in your lens today?
Oh, my God.
All right, let's get to it. The federal government is moving to bring back death.
All right. I don't really need... If this is what your website does, The Hill, this is why nobody comes to your fucking website.
By firing squad. Let that sit for a second. This is not just about how executions happen. It's really about how fast they happen, who they impact, and what kind of justice system we're building as a country. The Justice Department under President Trump says this is about enforcing the law and standing with victims. But alongside ramping up federal execution methods, lethal injection, electrocution, and now firing squads, they're also trying to cut down the time people have on death row to actually appeal their cases.
This is crazy. Yo, listen to me. And especially the black people who are stuck in an ignorant bubble, right? All you black people who are stuck in an ignorant bubble, please educate your kids. It ain't enough to say, yo, you gonna find out. No, they're gonna find out. And if you really love them, you want to discourage them with facts right now. Because there's so many things going on in America, they may not be seeing the little tedious things being put in place for their extermination. Extermination. So they're ramping up processing time and they're reinstating death by fire squad. Death by fire squad. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of extermination in this country. Now, don't fall for this. Listen to me before I end my show. Don't fall for any Republican. Well, that's the Republicans. That's the Democrat. No, they're the same. All he is doing is setting something up and putting something in place for the next person to come in charge. Remember, this shit is all theatrics, right? So then the next person, by the time they get into office and they actually use it, it looks like that person came in and they did it. But when really, it was an alley-oop from the last administration, which they probably had a alley-oop from the last administration. You understand? And this is what's been going on. So do not fall for this Republican, Democrat bullshit. Get your mind out of that theory altogether. Start to look at all of them as one, and you will start to see things a little bit clearer. So instead of looking at red and blue, just make a neutral color, right? Let's say the color was damn green, which it is. Now see all of them as green. They're all doing the same shit. They're all working together. So for him to tell us, I'm hearing different stories why they're bringing back the fire squad. Some saying, yeah, we don't have enough chemicals for the needles. All right.
This is where it gets really complicated. Because historically, the appeals process hasn't just been a formality, it's been a safeguard for the system. There are countless cases where people were exonerated after years and years of fighting to prove their innocence. You want some examples? Anthony Ray Hinton spent 30 years on death row in Alabama for a crime he didn't commit. His conviction was overturned after years of appeals, faulty ballistics evidence. He was exonerated in 2015. Or Kirk Bloodsworth, a former Marine sentenced to death here in Maryland. After 9 years in prison, DNA evidence pushed through appeals proved his innocence. He became the first person in the U.S. exonerated from death row by DNA. Now imagine if we shorten that window for those people. It's also important to note that Black Americans are about 13% of the U.S. population, but 42 roughly percent of those on death row.
Okay.
They're also more likely to be exonerated, but often only after those long, drawn-out appeals process the government is now trying to speed up.
Yeah, because prison is modern-day slavery. Slavery never ended. 1865, the Emancipation Proclamation. 1885, the boom of private prisons. It was only going to be a boom of private prisons because everything was illegal. First of all, if you release people from slavery and immediately tell them it is illegal to be a vagrant, well, what the fuck are you talking about? That is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. And any white people that can't understand that, then you're just delusional. You're just delusional. And I bring up white people because those are mainly the people that argue with me about the sabotage in this country. And you have to see the sabotage because it doesn't only affect black people, right? So when you get someone that's really desperate and then they happen to do a desperate crime and a white person is involved, I'm not talking about Carmelo Anthony and I want to say his name, Cal. I think his name is Cal. I think it is. Is it? The young man that died. No, that was stupid on Carmelo's part to even fucking stab this guy in the chest, period. So I'm not talking about that. I'm not a guy who's just going to sit up here and blatantly take up for fucking black people just because they're black. No, I don't know why he stabbed him in the chest because the other guy shoved him. All right. It's a shoving match. You ever heard of a fucking shoving match? Shove back, dickhead. Why'd you jump to 10? Why'd you do that? Right? So what I want you to understand is how if you do not start to think rationally, it will affect you too. Because if a black person gets desperate, if any fucking body gets desperate, not just black people, we're talking about black people here that are being denied certain liberties and opportunities based on their skin color. What are they going to do? They're going to wow the fuck out and start doing very desperate things. Same thing as you would do. And it could involve people of the opposite race. Now you're running around saying these people are animals. That's easy for you to say. Because you're part of a race that didn't have to deal with that measure of prejudice and sabotage. But I know for a fact that you're no different. You're no fucking different. In fact, I don't know if you're worse. In truth. And the reason I say that is because I don't know why you used to eat black people. I don't know why you used to take their skin and wear it as handbags. At first, when I heard this story, I thought it was a fucking joke. I said, nah, they never did that. Then I look into it, scholarly research, and I find out, wait, you did do that shit. You fucking chopped up black people and fried their meat in a pan and ate it? What kind of savagery is this? So, everyone has a breaking point. And because life has been so precious, maybe you don't see your breaking point right now. But if you remain on that prejudice shit, right? If you don't start to see that the governors, the rulers of this world, the principalities of darkness are working us against each other, then you fall for the trick against black and white and Democrat against Republican. These are agents of chaos. I assure you this. They don't mean you any good, and they don't mean me any good. They don't mean you good because you're white like them. They don't mean you any fucking good. Because they're gonna feed you the same poison water. They're gonna feed you the same poison food. They're gonna indoctrinate you the same way. They don't give a shit about you either. But I do believe that the black people of this country they're gonna hurt the worst from this. Because you are already the most incarcerated. You are already the behaviors you have overall, which is what I try to reverse up here on my show. I don't try to contribute to the ignorance because I know that's the type of stuff that will get you locked up faster, and I don't want to see that. So I don't like to praise a bunch of old ass drug dealers and murderers and give them accolades for. What do you give them fucking accolades for? Nah, he's a real one. How was he real? He destroyed many fucking lives. Some of these guys are fucking rapists. What are you talking about? You're an asshole. Stop endorsing ignorance. Because let me tell you something. If these kids start to admire ignorance, which they've already started to do without any understanding at all, they got a place for these people. And now they got consequences that are getting drastically worse. So keep messing around if you want to. They're not talking about bringing the death penalty back with gunfire. It's back, Foolio. It's back. Starting in Idaho in 2 days. It's back, jackass. Fuck around and find out.
So when you hear efficiency, you have to ask efficiency for who? Then there's the actual method itself. We've already seen how messy firing squads can get. In South Carolina, that's one of only 5 states currently allowing executions by firing squad. Just last year, the execution of Mikhail Mahdi raised serious concerns. Advocates argue that using a firing squad is a, quote, more humane and quicker execution than other options. But when it was used in Mahdi's case, lawyers noted that the bullets mostly missed Mahdi's heart, leaving him to die in a manner that violated the Constitution's ban on cruel and unusual punishment.
That's the other thing. I thought this was weird because how long is it going to take somebody to get shot? I mean, to die after they get shot. And what are you shooting them with? I don't even know how you determine something like this, right? This is just fucking wild. But it might bring down the crime rate at the same time. I think hangings will lower the crime rate too. If they start hanging people in the fucking square, Idaho is kicking this off with pedophiles. This whole the laptop is acting up a little bit. Yes, starting July 1st, Idaho becomes the only U.S. state to authorize the firing squad as primary method of execution. The state adopted this approach to bypass problems and drug shortages associated with lethal injection. Idaho governor signs legislation authorizing fire squad. Oh, he definitely looks like a reptilian. There's no doubt about that. He's reptile. On March 12, 2025, Idaho Governor Brad Little signed House Bill 37 into law, making the firing squad the state's primary method of execution. In a statement of Catholic News Agency, Governor Little said, "I have long made clear my support of capital punishment. My signing of this bill is consistent with my support of the Idaho legislation actions in the setting the policies around the methods of execution in the state of Idaho. The bill, which takes effect July 1st, passed both chambers of the Idaho legislature for wide margins." As of November 24th, the Idaho Department of Corrections had not begun work on the construction of secure facility for executions. All right. So let me see something here. 5 states: Idaho, Mississippi, damn, Oklahoma, South Carolina, damn, and Utah allow for execution by firing squad. Knock it off, people. Knock it off. Let me tell you right now, knock that shit off. You have to adopt civility. You have to reset your principles in your house. I don't give a shit if you poor, right? One thing about me, I could truly say I experience all type of stuff, right? Because I know so many different ranges of people. So I end up in places in the poorest neighborhoods. You go in people's houses, they got roaches crawling on the wall, and to them it's nothing at all. It's like, yeah, roaches are here, so what? I usually don't stay in this type of house because I'm always looking around and I feel like a roach is gonna crawl on me and I'm gonna take that shit on my car and then back on. So usually I'll step in, hey, everybody, slap a five. Yo, let me go outside, you know what I'm saying, real quick, and then I don't come back in. I can't deal with it. I get real fucking nervous of roaches. But I'm also someone who can end up at some of the richest houses because I know of different ranges of people. I don't know where I was going with that, but I know this, black people. You're fucking cooked. Oh, this is where I was going with that. I don't think it matters how rich you are in money. You have to adopt some principles, even if you're fucking poor, right? And more than likely you're poor because if you can't be used, you're useless and you can't be used. They can't rely on you for shit, right? More than likely your mother's reading level is fucking 4th grade and she got knocked up early. She had fucking 5 baby daddies. She can't do it by herself working at the fucking Dollar Tree. This is the beginning of a generational curse that will continue until one person in that house says, nah, I gotta get the fuck out of here. And they realize I'm not gonna do it by selling drugs. Even if you make a lot of money, right? And big luck with that, right? To work yourself from ounces to kilos without getting arrested and doing time, good luck. That's an uphill battle that I wouldn't want to face. Listen, if you're gonna put in that amount of time only for them to take the money away or have you spend it on lawyers, you might as well have spent that money on a fucking university. Dead ass. So skip the bullshit and go straight to the university, right? I know you saying, yo, everybody don't gotta go to college. Listen, nigga, you're going to jail or college. I'm letting you know. You're going to jail or college. Which one do you want to do? Because you're going to make some money in that dope game for, I don't know, it could be a day, it could be 10 years, but you're going to jail. I promise you that. They're going to pack you the fuck up and get you up out of here. That being the case, just go to the school. If you can't be used, you're useless. So can't nobody call you for, hey, can you fix my electrician? My wires are fried. Yeah, I don't know how to do that shit. Nobody could call you to clean their pipes. Nobody could call you for shit. You don't know nothing. That's why you're fucking poor. It's elementary. It's not a big conspiracy about why you fucking poor and nutted. This is what I do want to say. I don't give a shit if you're poor. You better fix your principles because they got something lined up for you. And that's me just warning you. You don't got to listen to me. Don't listen to me. Fuck do I care if you get lined up in front of a firing squad. Don't listen to me. But I'm telling you, they're silently putting things in place to get you the fuck up out of here. Listen, y'all, that's my show. I gave you 2 hours today. I got to get to work. You understand? I didn't want my people to forget me over here in the mornings. I'm going to try again from the office tomorrow morning because it seems like they were fighting us, and I don't know why. But we'll figure it out. You understand? We'll figure it out. I'm going to get up out of here. You guys have a good day, and I'll see you tomorrow morning. Peace out.